Okay, check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Well, mine was 150, and my wife was like, "You're never gonna get away with it." She was right. She was right. I really thought I could get through them fast enough, but you know what? I added a few at the last minute, and that's what did it. That's what did it to me.
Yep.
So, what do you think? Here's what I'm curious about.
Yes.
Here, I am curious about when you're in your experience.
Yes.
Do you think that sharks are unhappy in captivity?
That's the $1 million question. Honestly, I really agree with what you said up there in your talk. Fish have very small brains. I mean, that's not to say that they're not smart. We don't want to be unkind towards fish, but it's a very different thing to keep a polar bear than a triggerfish. I mean, they do have very small brains. All they have, I don't want to make it overly simplistic, but they basically think of, eat, not get eaten, and make baby fish. That's like the three things that dominate their thoughts. So I would say that as long as the exhibit is really large, and I mean like large, and these days you see millions of gallons, in exhibits. If you provide adequate veterinarian care, food, decent environment, I mean, they have, I hate to say it, but they have a better chance of living their whole life cycle there than if they're out in the wild. They're just going to end up getting fished for shark fin soup. So
we get this comment on our channel a lot. We get this comment like, I can't believe you're doing an aquarium episode and you're condoning, keeping these poor things in captivity. And I'm like, okay, with dolphins or orcas or something, I'm with you on that. But I mean, fish, sharks, I mean, I don't think the sharks are unhappy. They're swimming around, they're getting fed. I mean, I don't really think that they're, God, it sounds mean to say it, but I don't think that they're that smart. I think they're pretty happy. Absolutely. And I know, like, for reef fish and stuff, like, I mean, in the wild, they have a very small range. I mean, if you film them or you study them, you'll see that an anemone fish rarely travels more than 20 feet from its anemone its entire life. So if it's in a relatively decent-sized aquarium,
Absolutely.
Nothing much different,
Absolutely.
Except that it gets fed every day.
It's super true. And again, we always remind people of the numbers. Like, for example, we'll sell 3-4 sharks a year. The whole industry sells a dozen sharks a year. Now, 200 million sharks get killed for their meat and their fins every year.
Right.
So, is it that wrong that we sacrifice with huge, inverted commas, a dozen sharks that are going to live, with all the care in the world in a really huge environment, all this medical attention, and they're going to help pass on this message of conservation and education. They're going to help protect the other 200 million. So to me, that makes sense.
It's
one dozen in that.
It's completely worth it to have these ambassadors. These ambassadors.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Now, some people would say that about dolphins. Mm-hmm. The difference being that I think the dolphins are miserable.
Yes.
They're miserable. And so now you're saying you're torturing this animal that's miserable as an ambassador. And I'm not so cool with that. But I mean, a shark, how many times when you were a kid did you go to the aquarium and all you wanted to see was the sharks?
Of course.
I went to the New England Aquarium when I was a kid, and I wanted to go to the giant ocean tank, and I wanted to see the sand tiger sharks go by. And they go right by the window, and you can see their teeth, and every time you go there, the kids go nuts. And where else are they going to see a shark?
Absolutely.
So we have to have that.
Yeah. I think the trade-off is more than acceptable. When you consider the amount that goes in the aquarium and the good they do for the all their friends out in the wild, it's more than acceptable. And like you, I mean, the mammals, I hate to say this because I actually have a lot of friends in the industry, that keep dolphins. And I know these guys will take the shirt off their back to feed the dolphin under their care if they have to. I mean, these people will work nights and they'll skip Christmas lunch to take care of their dolphins. But still, that's a mammal, and a mammal actually knows that's in captivity. So that to me is the line. The good news is that it's fading out. I mean, the public doesn't want it, the law doesn't want it, so the animals that we have in captivity today are the very last ones. And I would say in a generation, we'll basically stop seeing them at all.
Right.
Yep.
But the sad part is then people will have to get off their butts and get on a boat and go out to sea if they want to see some dolphins.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
Well, is that good?
perfect.
Is that good?
That is
Awesome.
absolutely
But we
perfect.
definitely have
Not
to
at
do
all.
it. We definitely have to do an
I
episode
like it.
together.
I really
we'll
like
have
it.
some fun.